right. Welcome back. So we have our next person we're talking to. You would have, if you're basically Melbourne based, you probably would have seen her at many events, TGF, doing things for the Starlight Foundation, probably PAX, and many other places. Well known for her cosplaying. So welcome Kelly Deluxe to the show. Hi Kelly,
Hi,
how are you?
great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks so much
great.
for having me.
Yeah. So let's go straight into it. Why cosplay? Why do you cosplay?
Um, I've thought about it. So I've been cosplaying for a long time, but only just started making it a real serious passion. It started out as just closet cosplays at home, dressing up for Halloween with friends, loving musical theatre, loving getting into character. And then it's grown into something, a passionate hobby. There are so many different crafting elements, from props to wig styling to sewing, and you get to get out in the community and make friends and enjoy it with people who are just as passionate about the games and anime that you love.
Yeah. And so you do a mixture, like you make your own costumes, but also use pre-existing kind of materials as well.
Yeah, so there's been contention over the years in the cosplay community about whether it's better to buy or make your own, but I really like to do a combination. And if you're not going in competitions, it's best just to have fun with it, do whatever you like. So right now, I'm wearing a 3D printed suit by an awesome designer called Brandon Gilberto. Sometimes I sew my own pieces. This one is probably my hardest, so it's a full bustier that my sewing teacher helped me with. It took us about 4 versions and 6 months to create. And it just depends, like whether it's a character you're really passionate about and you want to make it a big build, or whether you just want to have a quick shoot with some friends and do something more casual.
Okay. So on average, like you can pick any sort of costume that you can remember, but how long is usually the average process from like maybe coming up with some ideas and then
Yeah.
you've got the final costume? Usually, how long is that period?
So varies wildly, depends on, how hard the props are to make, how hard it is to sew. A lot of the time, as I said, I'll do part of the costume, so some bought and some made. I organise a lot of shoots, and I would say from start to finish, my shoot process is about 3 months. So finding friends who want to do the same characters, creating the cosplays, and then getting together and shooting with our photographer friends.
Okay. Now, one thing is like, and you see that with different type of outfits, is the whole thing about temperature. Like, some costumes are really hot. Some that, yeah, if you're in cold weather, you are going to get really cold. Do you incorporate those things or think about those things when dealing with a particular costume?
It's been such a learning process. So I organised my first big shoot April 2019. I'm a big fan of the show Neon Genesis Evangelion, and there's a lot of like bright red and pink water. And in Melbourne, there's a beautiful pink lake. And I went, right, it's, April, still really hot. The algae makes it bright pink. Let's do a shoot. And we were all wearing these bodysuits. So that was a big learning. We had a lot of fun, but we were quite hot. So we went, all right, no more bodysuits in summer. So I think as a cosplayer, you start out with what you're passionate about, and then you kind of realize what suits your seasonality the best, and you tweak things as you go on from there.
Yeah, yeah, because I've seen many others when they've got big constructions where the outfit is plastics and it's all sealed in, and it could be a helmet and the visor totally fogs over, or they're actually drenched in sweat. Like I can remember seeing a person who was in a full costume for a company for a game that was coming out at the time. This is back in 2008, and it was mostly material. And he was drinking, 2 liters of water every time he'd come back to the break. He wasn't going to the bathroom; he was just sweating it
Yeah.
out. And there was a black outfit, and even though it was air conditioned at the event, he would step and there was sweat pouring out. He was just waterlogged with sweat. And I remember saying to him, look, maybe you should change out of that and go have a shower or something, because you're going to get pneumonia. Because he was like starting to say, I'm starting to freeze, even though outside it was like 43 degrees
Yeah, I've seen
Celsius.
people build fans into their costumes.
Yeah,
When you're creating a costume, you get to choose whether you make it as all one piece or you make it in parts, or you add modifications in to make things easier for yourself.
yeah,
I've even seen people take a bodysuit. I wouldn't recommend this. I'm a bit of a purist, and cut the fingers out to make it, because when you're having lunch break in this, my friends and I usually just have to get changed out of it so we can go and eat and then come back, because
yeah.
yeah, gloves just add another layer of difficulty to
I bet,
everything.
because I think that's
So
the other
we
thing.
all definitely suffer for our art, I would say.
Yeah, like one year when I was basically cosplayed as an Obi-Wan sort of Jedi thing, and I had a beard like this. One of the things that challenges I had was just eating, because some foods would get caught in the beard, but if it was something that had it was like a mayonnaise or a sauce,
Yeah.
it was just everywhere, and then it'd get on your hands, and then it was just like, this is impossible.
I
So
think in addition to that, it's really important when you're getting ready. It's such a process. You know, I have hair that is nearly down to my knees. So I have to braid the hair, put it up in the wig, and then you have to put on contacts before you put on makeup. Otherwise, you know, you can just get really messy. And so you kind of have to put on everything in layers, and especially historical costumers, you know, they've got pantaloons and hoop skirts, and yeah, it's such a process, even just getting into costume.
So with contact lenses, how long do you generally able to have those in?
So they recommend that you have them in for about 4 to 6 hours and then use eye drops. Sometimes for a con day, you know, I might leave the house at 8 a.m. and not get back until a bit later, so I'll wear them in for a bit longer. But I guess it's not an everyday wear thing for me. And if my eyes get sore, you know, there's the option to take them out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really tricky putting them in for the first time. I went to my optometrist and got help, and there was a lot of stabbing myself in the eye. But after 2 years, I feel really confident now.
Yeah, because that's one thing I've always seen with whether it's film productions or TV or even cosplayers is that whole thing of putting in a contact lens. Because I've seen, you know, I can still remember as a kid watching Michael Jackson's The Making of Thriller, and they're putting the contact lenses in his eyes, and his eyes are running over the makeup. And you know, once he had them in, they were okay. But I can imagine contact lenses have improved a lot since that time. So
yeah, there are some that kind of are more moisturizing than others, and then I guess I'll say publicly for everyone's help, you can only keep them for a certain amount of time. So most of the ones I get are yearly, and then you just need to chuck them out and get a new pair. Just keep your eyes safe. Yeah,
because I've always heard that with people who just wear normal contact lenses, and they're like, now you got to keep them clean, and then you get rid of them because, you know, you don't want any bacteria or anything in there that can give you an eye infection. So because you're putting a foreign object in your eye. So
and then I guess, you know, it's another level for I've got a friend who's a makeup artist, and she does prosthetics and special effects, and I've dabbled in making wounds for myself a couple of times. So another layer of the process and keeping things out of your eyes.
Yeah. One thing I was going to ask you, have you, because I've done this, but I want to, if you've done, have you actually ever had your face, you know, covered in plaster to make a mold or anything else?
Mold?
Yeah.
Not for cosplay, only in art classes when I was a lot younger. We made kind of plaster of Paris masks and then peeled them off. But actually, I might pull up a picture of my friend Mikey. Look at that guy cosplay.
Yep.
Let me just find it and then I'll pull it up. He recently, maybe not recently, but he just popped up some pictures of this awesome mask he made.
Okay. Because one of the things is that when I had that done, and it was high school the first time, I remember just falling asleep. It was that warm and comfortable, so it's good.
So there are a few workshops in Melbourne and around Australia you can do, and I'm a massive fan of Fallout. Mikey does a lot of great Fallout cosplays, and so he actually made a Hancock Ghoul Vault-Tec rep mask, and so this is the kind of process that he took with that, which I've only just seen the process recently, so I'm like, wow, it would be awesome to try something like that out.
Yeah, no, it looks really, really good. But I remember doing it, and it got so warm, and I felt so relaxed, and I remember, you know, the teacher kind of flicking my hand going, "You okay?" And I was like, but I was like, it was so warm because it was, I think it was winter when we were doing it. And I ended up falling asleep for a little while. So it was, I actually found it comfortable, while others who popped it on very quickly were like, I got to get this off my face.
Feeling.
But and they had to have the straws out of their nose. Well, I didn't need the straws. So I was comfortable.
It makes me think about cosplays as well. I know in the community, people definitely have what they call comfort cosplays. Like, this suit is really comfortable, just easy to wear and keeps them protected from the cold. But then if you're wearing, you know, super high crazy heels or massive pauldrons or something like that all day, you can't wait to just tear it off yourself at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's once you've got some images to show, so maybe we'll, if you can bring up some of those
Yeah,
images,
of
and
course.
you can
Yeah.
talk us through a few of them, and I can ask some questions about it.
So I thought it would be cool to go back to the very start because we've known each other for a long time.
Hmm.
So I think, can't remember if I mentioned I started cosplaying back in '09
Yep.
and did a lot of cosplaying at some of Andrew's events.
Yeah.
So when I first started, it was very much, do I have a yellow shirt in my cupboard? Do I have, jean shorts? What can I use to make suspenders? Just kind of appropriating things that I already had.
Yeah.
Um, and then I'm still so proud that we got to hang out with the 501st. I think this
Hmm.
is version 1 of Leia, which was
Yes.
made out of 3 layers of like nightgowns that
Yes.
I'd got from an op shop.
Yeah. No, that seems like yesterday, that one.
Yeah.
And these are the famous ones. Yeah, because I remember that R2D2. It ran on something like 3 car batteries or something. So
Yeah, it was a wonderful build.
yeah.
And then I think, was this last year?
This was last year, and this is
Last year.
yeah, because you end up being on
So
Channel 9 for this, would you, with the interview?
Oh, were we? Yeah. So
Yeah,
this is Kim here, Boom Boom Burlesque, who's also a really good friend of mine and fellow cosplayer.
yeah,
So that's Leia version 2, which is no longer bed sheets, but someday I'd love to take it to version 3 and make it myself completely from scratch, which would be
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Because you appear in the I think in a lot of the other promos as well for TGF, and yeah, it's funny because I always refer to you as the princess. So
Yeah.
because
I
you
just
also did.
remember when I was in a shopping centre and I heard your sons call out Princess Leia, and I was like, oh, I think that's actually me.
Yeah.
That's again another great thing about cosplay.
Hmm.
There are a lot of Disney princess cosplayers in the city, and I know that they love working with little kids. The kids' faces just light up to see them as Elsa or Anna. And I know when I've been Sailor Moon, I've had little boys and girls come up to me and just want photos and want to chat with you, and they think you're the real character, which it's such a cool feeling.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing is, like I can remember a long, long time ago, way before there was even talk about Disney buying Lucasfilm. You were always going on about Disney princesses, and you were the one who'd always say to me, "Oh, well, kind of Princess Leia is, you referred to her as a Disney princess." And then lo and behold, a few years later, or many years later, it became a reality. And you were the only one who used to say that, and that's something I've always remembered. And I was like, maybe she knew something. So yeah. So
just letting me know somehow.
Yeah. So it's amazing that it's that a lot of people will remember you from select costumes and things that you've actually done, and it also your involvement with many activities and doing this sort of thing, because it's a lot of it's been raising money for charity. But I think that's one thing I always find about people who cosplay, when you go to events and that it just I think it makes the event. It's I think for me it's one of the big standouts, and also people are so welcoming and so friendly. So it's like they want to get a photo with that person, or a little kid, that sort of stuff, and then something that you wouldn't really see in any other sort of avenue. And I think that for a lot of people,
it is such a welcoming and inclusive community. Yeah, it's such a great place to be.
Yeah, and I think also with the accepting of it more so in the last few years is that it enables people to express themselves a lot more in a creative fashion. So they have that added outlet, and brings them together with people that they probably would never meet.
And another cool aspect, so at Anamaga a couple of years ago, I met this amazing Sailor Moon cosplayer, and I was like, how did you make everything to this level? And she said, oh, I'm actually from Thailand and I'm part of a cosplay team. I'm the model. Someone does all the sewing. Someone does the props. We've got a photographer. So it was like 5 or 6 people had come together to make this one outfit.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's an awesome way of looking at it. So my best friend he's just starting to do 3D prints and props. Yeah. He's Artificer Max on Instagram. And it's awesome to collaborate with him. And he's learning to use 3D modeling software. Because if I'm focusing on sewing, I'd love to just keep going on that tangent and help him make cosplays, and then we can kind of share art and collaborate together.
Well, I think that is a really good thing, because there's a lot of people out there that go, look, they may not really want to cosplay themselves, but they want to be part of a project to go, oh, okay, I made the belts, I made the bracelets. I built this armor for the arm, or this weapon.
Exactly. Like
Those
they
sort of
might
things.
not want to be Geralt, but they might think Geralt is so cool, and wouldn't they love to make the armor for him and
Yeah,
see it come to life through someone
yeah.
else's portrayal.
It's pretty
Yeah,
much like, if you
definitely.
think about it, like a film production. It's like you have the actor, they're in the costume, and in your case, you can sew, so you've got that, but
Yeah,
you've got your,
you got the support team around them.
yeah, you've
Yeah,
got props people, photography people, makeup people, and they're all coming together only for maybe just one person to kind of fit a character. But
yeah,
they get out of it going, look, I did this, and they're really happy, and it may help them in some other business they're trying to run, or it's just simply, no, I just enjoy doing this. And then people
yeah,
going, they get to meet other people and go, wow, you did this, and they're like, yeah. And I think that's the other thing, is it's the passion of it
yeah.
all. So
I might share. It's just popped up in my mind. I might share a picture.
mhm.
So what you were talking about there, with all of the different kinds of people that get involved. So
Mm.
this was the first shoot, the first big shoot I ever ran in April last year. And how many people are in there? We had 3 photographers, 2 hair and makeup. I think it was 7 models, and some assistants and friends who just wanted to help feed us for the day.
Yeah.
People holding reflectors. And, for everyone, it was what we called TFP, which is time for pics. We all just got together, hung out, had a bit of banter, and brought the characters to life. And, everyone in the photo helped that happen. It wasn't just the work of one person.
Mm.
And then, so here's the second group, the
Yep.
second big group that I've run, which is the Moon Squad Melbourne. So again, we had our photographer friends who, it's great to get to know people through the shoots and the cons and build those kind of collaborative relationships, but also friendships.
Yeah.
You look back and you go, oh, I met that person at that shoot and we're so close now. And it's just, it's nice to have the whole process of making a costume and then come together on the day just as if it were, like a TV show, and do the photos or the final record, and everyone goes, oh, what a great journey. Like we've achieved something today.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right. So you've got some other images that you've compiled into a file. So do you want to bring those up? Then we'll
Yeah,
go through
sure.
each one, and
We
then
can go through that.
go through that.
Got some bits and pieces.
Yeah.
So this is my friend Above Average Cosplay, and we both started learning to sew together mid-2018. It was something we'd both always wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So she made this lovely bomber jacket for We're Monokuma and Junko from Danganronpa, and I made my first ever tartan pleated skirt. So it was awesome. I think it took us about 4 months each, and then took it to PAX and shot with a lovely photographer called Sean. And then that's when I decided, I was like, I've met so many great people at PAX this year. How can I keep this going? And then I started organizing bigger and bigger shoots. So then here's some of the models from the Evangelion shoot. So we've got Rei, Asuka, Hikari, Shinji, and Misato in there. And then we've got some of the staff from Evangelion, so Misato, Kaji, and Ritsuko. And of course, my partner's in the middle. I always rope him in whenever I need an extra character. So thanks heaps to Matt for being, tuxedo mask, Vincent, Kaji, whenever you're needed.
Yep.
What else have we got in here? This is interesting. So to focus on one aspect, wig styling is definitely not my favorite part of cosplay. I like the sewing and the putting together and the organizing, but I always just try to improve the quality slightly over time. So I had a lot of help. I had my friend B did hair and makeup and had an assistant. So that's Beatrix Beauty for this one. And then the second time I did ask her, I thought, let's try something different. I got a different wig from a different company, styled it with a pretty different interpretation, just to try something new.
Yep.
And then I think I'd worn the first wig about 5 times. And so it was a cheap wig to begin with. I always like to start cheap and then buy more quality items as I go on. So I wore it for a shoot under a hat. And then I think next is my current wig, which I'm really happy with. So I've started customizing my wigs by sewing in extra weft. So this one hasn't got any, but, sewing in like an extra section of hair so it's fuller. I cut it to length and learned how to cut hair with a bit of a natural look rather than just chopping it straight off at the bottom. And then just kind of hairspraying it in place and learning how to tease a fringe and all those kind of elements. So I feel like my understanding of wigs has come a long way in 2 years, and I really appreciate there are some amazing wig artists out there who do, you know, gravity defying styles or cool braids and things like that. There's so many people to learn from. I wonder what else we've got in here. This was another dream shoot. This was actually, I sewed this whole costume myself, which probably took me about 5 or 6 months start to finish. So I did this with the help of my sewing teacher, and I think debuted it at PAX, I think it was last year. Yeah, okay. So we did a shoot at Bartronica, which was awesome, and then we did a second shoot at Maison Burlesque with all of the main characters from that show. Yeah. So again, working with some great friends, and it's awesome when everyone is so passionate about like this particular game. Catherine is one of my all-time favorite games.
Can you go back to the last image? That one there. No. Next one. That one there, the expression he has on his face, he looks like, and with the hair, looks like Tom Baker, Doctor Who.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
I only know David Tennant and Matt Smith. I don't know Tom Baker.
Yeah, 70s Doctor Who. Yeah, you need to look at that because holding that facial expression and kind of the hair. Well, the hair, Tom Baker, Doctor Who, has got a lot more curlier hair and it's a lighter colour. But the expression there, I was like, hang on, that looks like Doctor Who. So yeah.
Well, Matt, with this character is like a bit of a deadbeat who's caught between two, or in the remake of the game, 3 women. And I just love this photo. It just encapsulates. I love it so much when people get really into character. Of course, my character's a succubus, so she wants to suck his soul out. And then Emma, who's portraying the other Catherine, is the player's girlfriend, and she's super serious. So I love, to me, this photo just feels like such a Netflix adaptation of the anime game. It's awesome to enjoy a game so much and then try to replicate it and really put the feeling into it.
Yep.
What else have we got in here? Oh yeah, it's also, I think I've learned a lot from friends. I used to be I wanted everything I did to be accurate, and I still really enjoy that. But I also think there's a lot of space in cosplay now for interpreting your favorite characters. So my really good friend Morgan Moritan Rico and I did a shoot of Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune together on a casual date. And instead of trying to replicate clothing from the shows, we thought, what would they wear? What's something that we have that they'd use as a casual outfit? So I've styled it a bit more 50s than the 90s show. So yeah, it's nice to think about how you can have fun with characters and add little details that might not necessarily have been in the original, but that just help you get in the zone more. And it's just nice little touches for people who enjoy them. Oh, there's one more cute couple photo. I think another really interesting thing about organising shoots, I would encourage everyone to just put things out on the Melbourne Cosplay Community Board. If there's a shoot you want to do, ask other people to get involved. You know, it doesn't matter if you haven't met them before. It's a lot of fun. And then for this shoot in particular, I asked this lovely cafe in Mornington, Flower Girls, if they would just let us come and shoot, and we'd buy a whole bunch of cakes. And so they let us come in for a couple of hours and just, you know, have a play around. It's really nice when you just put yourself out there and see what comes back, you know, kind of supporting local and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess I've got some more pictures in here of the first Moon Squad Melbourne meetup, and then how it's grown. So this was our first meetup with the group, and then we've pretty much got the full squad of characters now, which was awesome. So we had a chat group going for a couple of months to make sure that we could all coordinate the outfits, coordinate the shoes, the ribbons, and we had some pom-pom making parties. Everyone made their own pom-poms in their colours. So of course, you know, there's an aspect of buying and then there's the aspect of making. Those pom-poms were so frustrating to make, but once they were done, we all just celebrated so much. And of course, you know, like you have been saying, some people you don't meet until you're at the event, but you've kind of had this collaboration with them, and then it all comes together, and then you've just made new friends. So then after this shoot, I, for a long time, have really wanted to do Sailor Moon cosplays on an ongoing basis with people who are really passionate about the characters. And so Morgan, so is Venus. I'm not sure if you can see my cursor.
Yep.
And then we've got Kim, who of course you know. Kim is our Jupiter. And then Elsie, who is Minnie Moon up the back here, is our Sailor Mars. So we debuted as the Southern Star Senshi this year with our friend Laura as well, who is Mercury. So we've got a whole list of different ideas for costumes that the Sailor Moon girls could wear. And so we're just having regular, fun, collaborative shoots. Our next one's going to be a slumber party next month.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of an ongoing, collaborative cosplay friendship partnership. It's really fun. It's been really rewarding. I think, oh yeah, we've got one more picture of that. Fantastic. I think that's about everything that's in the folder.
Right. So, one thing is very shortly I'll ask you to, I'll bring up your Instagram account so people can know where to follow you. So, a few things I just want to ask is, the influence for doing these cosplays, are these connected to, your favorite movies, your favorite TV shows, those sorts of things?
Yeah, I almost forgot to show off. So I really love the game Lollipop Chainsaw. So I thought I'd show off one last cool thing. Yeah. So with the help of some very talented friends, one of my friends did the 3D modeling and another friend works in an industrial workshop. So he helped me bend metal, cut the ply, join a lot of things together.
Fantastic.
Was able to make, I've got some progress photos if you wouldn't mind me sharing them.
Yes, please.
So this was a couple of years ago now, and this is kind of the only prop I've ever built. So I definitely want to sink my teeth back into it.
Okay, so this is on your your Kelly Deluxe Instagram account.
Yeah, this is the Facebook version.
Oh, this is Facebook, right?
Kelly Deluxe on both. Miss Kelly Deluxe, all one smooshed word.
Okay.
So this is kind of part of the way through. So my friend 3D modeled all the plywood aspects, and my friend who works in the workshop, Mark, printed it. And then my contribution was sculpting the blue foam for the first time. So I had little diagrams next to me of how the chainsaw should look. And then I just kind of, as you can see, there's a lot of pen marks for where holes need to be and where different shapes need to go. So over a couple of months, just whenever I had time after uni, I would just sculpt this chainsaw. And then eventually this is a bit of a setup out the back of our house with newspaper down, kind of sprayed it all together. And then I remember I actually painted this the night before PAX, which I think a lot of people do con crunch, up till 3 a.m, hoping it will dry in time to go to the convention. And then here I am with some friends at the con with very sore arms from holding it up all day.
Yeah, and that looks amazing.
Yeah, it really fired me up to, there's so many people with like Cloud's Buster Sword and all these massive oversized props that look really cool, and just there are a lot of innovative things out there for, if it's 6 meters long, how can you get the weight down? How can you pack it down for storage? I feel like the cosplay community has grown so much over the past decade, and people are coming up with so many new ideas.
Wonderful.
I think to get back to the question that you asked me about movies and games, I think I cosplay a lot from my favorite video games. Like, of course, right now I'm Samus from Metroid and Super Smash Bros. I love portraying strong women.
Yep.
And maybe even like Sailor Moon, they don't look that strong, but they have kind of a heart of gold and those supercharged values, I guess. Yeah. Just characters that are a little bit larger than life.
Yeah, and I think that's what excites people, and even the people like yourself making it. You're bringing something that possibly is animated or a game to life, and having people walk past and go, oh, look at that. It's it's a standout, and I think those ones really stand out a lot more than you might see someone dressed as Thor from the Marvel movies, and they look like Thor, like they're big and you look, they're amazing. Yeah. But then you see something else where it's not as super mainstream as maybe Marvel or DC or a Star Wars.
I agree. When you're at PAX and you see someone from your favorite nostalgic game of the 90s, honestly, I just run over and like, can I please have a photo with you? I love that about the community, that everyone is so excited by everyone else's work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, actually, before I ask you this question, do you want to bring up your Instagram account so people can see that if they want to follow you on Instagram?
I'll head back to, let me see if I can still do it in the gloves. Just one moment. Here we go. So this is my handle right here, Miss Kelly Deluxe, and same on Facebook as well. So feel free to drop me a question if you're just starting out in cosplay, if you want to know where resources are. I'm happy to help because, of course, I'm still learning. I'm still on a journey. You know, the past 2 years have been a bit more serious, but it's fun no matter what level of cosplay you enjoy. You just got to love the character and get into it.
Yeah, and also it shows your passion, but like even at the top with pinball, like you play a lot of pinball and you're playing a lot of the local leagues.
Yeah, actually, I might do a plug. Bells and Chimes Melbourne. If you're a woman or non-binary, please come and join us when we start meets again after COVID. So we have a meet once every month, and it's just a wonderful, friendly space. And also, I must shout out Bayside Pinball Club and Argonauts Pinball Club. There are so many good clubs in Melbourne.
Yeah,
it's such a fun game.
Fantastic. All right, so what's something that you've watched recently as a movie, and what game are you playing at the moment, if you have actually time?
So, my partner and I recently went back and watched The Matrix 1 and 2, and we're about to watch the third one, not because of the new one coming out, but because, again, I'm trying to rope him into cosplaying Neo because Trinity is just such a badass. Again, strong woman in media. And something I've been playing, a little indie game called Virtue's Last Reward. So it's made by the same company, Spike Chunsoft, that make Danganronpa. Again, it's like a gritty puzzle game, escape game. There's murders. It's so much fun.
Oh, right. Yeah, because we watched the 3 Matrix movies again just recently, a few months ago. So and because the Matrix, I think, was the first movie I actually watched on DVD, and was just like, I didn't see it, the first one, at the cinemas, and just like, how come I missed it? Because I remember I was living in Sydney when they were actually making it, and I had a friend who worked.
So you would have seen some of the shooting.
Yeah, so I had a friend who was in a superannuation building, and he said he'd look down. And I knew he was telling the truth because it was way before the movie got released. He's like, oh, I saw Keanu Reeves, and he's all dressed in black, and he's got like a machine gun and all this sort of stuff. And
because we saw the credits, and it listed so many Australian departments, and we were like, where did they shoot in Australia? Obviously, it was like a big
it was all over there. And because it's like the scene with the lady in the red dress, and also at the end when he's on the phone and he's moving around. I'm there watching it, and it kind of took me out of it because I'm like, I walk around there all the time. There's Dimmicks, there's a bookstore, and there's this, and I think even if the last time I was up there was a few years ago, you walk through there, a lot of it hasn't changed that much, and you kind of go, oh, okay, well, yeah, this is where they shot, the Matrix, these scenes here, and it was like also Superman Returns. You'd go through, it's like, oh, this is the hospital, but it's actually an entry to one of the train stations. So underground.
Yeah, that'd be so trippy.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because it's a bit different. It's like and a friend of mine from Retro Blasting came over last year, and I took him over this show where they shot some of the scenes from Mad Max, the original Mad Max here in Melbourne. So, but yeah, with Sydney, it was around that time there was because they'd done, I think, Dark City and then a Matrix, and I think with the Matrix. I think Sydney was one of the only places at the time where you could fly a helicopter between the buildings. I think that you couldn't do that anywhere else. So, when you're watching it, you're like going, okay, this is all Sydney everywhere.
And it's still so good years later. Like,
yes, it is. The movie is really good.
Movie.
I remember seeing I was at a small festival, and we got invited to a special screening of Matrix Reloaded, and it was the freeway scene. The movie hadn't been finished yet, so we were there watching that, and we got given. And I still have it. It's a pass around the A big, and it has neon, and it's like one of those ones when you move it, he changes. And
like a hologrammy.
Yeah. And on the back of it, it's like you go to any cinema and show this, and you can go see the Matrix Reloaded for free. And I was like, I'm not.
Did you have to surrender it, or just as many times?
Yeah, you got to surrender it, and I'm like, I'm not surrendering it. Because, and I remember, the visual effects artists were there, and they went through that whole scene, and we watched that scene so many times over and over again to watch it. So it was it's all right. Yeah, Matrix Reloaded, it has, I was never keen on the opening scene where they're all dancing and all that sort of stuff. I always thought that was a bit weird. And, I think, and Matrix Revolutions, I thought that, I didn't mind that. I actually enjoyed that when I saw that at the cinema. So
There are some bits and pieces I can't remember of Revolutions, but we'll probably watch it this weekend, the last one in the trilogy, and
yeah,
get
yeah.
back to it.
Yeah, it all works. Well, I'd like to say that thank you very much for being a part of the event once again and sharing your thoughts to do with cosplay and pinball and showing off your social media. So hopefully a few people who are watching this through the TGF New Game Plus stream will check this out. Or if you're watching this through the Cause and Effects Gamers YouTube, which is this would be put up after the event sometime, we will have all of Kelly's details for social media in the descriptions. So you can go and give it a follow and go have a look. Or if you live locally, it's something that you may want to be interested in joining in one of these groups. So on behalf of TGF and Cause and Effect Gamers, thank you very much for being a part of the show.
Thanks so much, Andrew. And before I go, I nearly forgot to plug another wonderful group in Melbourne, Weird and Retro. So we exhibit a lot of classic gaming with TGF, CGBC over the years, and at PAX as well. So yeah, please check all of the above out.
Because you always do the retro area in at PAX. And PAX here in PAX in Melbourne. So for those who overseas that kind of go, hang on, I haven't seen them at PAX in the US. No, it's PAX Melbourne. So yeah, fantastic.
Cool. Right. Thanks so much, Andrew. Great to have you back.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.